Good morning, everyone. Leadership is not something that is handed to you. It is not something you wait for, and it is certainly not something that requires a fancy title to be effective. Leadership is a choice, one that must be made every single day. The greatest leaders in history did not wait to be appointed or anointed. They did not ask for permission to step up. They saw a need, recognized their ability to contribute, and made the decision to take action. That's what true leadership is about. Choosing to lead, regardless of your position, background, or circumstances. Too often, people believe that leadership is reserved for those with authority. They think it's for CEOs, managers, politicians, or people in high-ranking positions. But leadership does not begin with a title. It begins with an attitude. It starts with a mindset that says, I am responsible. I will make a difference. I will take action. When you make the choice to lead, you stop waiting for instructions and start creating opportunities. You stop blaming external factors and start taking ownership of your actions. You stop following the crowd and start forging your own path. The best leaders don't seek power, they seek impact. They don't lead because they crave recognition. They lead because they see a way to improve the world around them. They take initiative when others hesitate. They speak up when others stay silent. They take responsibility when things go wrong and give credit when things go right. Leadership is about serving others, not serving yourself. Many people hesitate to step into leadership because they fear they're not ready or qualified. They tell themselves they need more experience, more confidence, or someone else's approval before they take action. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment to start leading. There is no certification that suddenly makes you a leader. Leadership happens the moment you decide to stop waiting and start doing. It happens when you take responsibility for your own growth, your own decisions, and your own impact. One of the biggest differences between those who lead and those who don't is simple. Leaders act. They don't sit on the sidelines, waiting for a sign. They don't allow doubt or fear to hold them back. They understand that leadership is messy, uncertain, and full of challenges, but they step up anyway. They take risks, make mistakes, and learn along the way, because that's what real leadership is, not having all the answers, but being willing to find them. If you want to claim your leadership power, stop waiting for someone to give it to you. Stop looking at leadership as something outside of yourself, something that requires permission or validation. You already have everything you need to lead: your actions, your decisions, your ability to inspire and influence others. Leadership is not about your title, your rank, or your authority. It's about how you show up in the world, and that is a choice only you can make. Leadership is not about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself first. The most effective leaders are not the ones who simply tell others what to do. They are the ones who have control over their own actions, emotions, and mindset. If you want to claim your leadership power, you must first learn to lead yourself. You must develop discipline, self-awareness, and the ability to push through challenges even when no one is watching. The foundation of great leadership is built on personal responsibility, and that starts with you. One of the key aspects of leading yourself is discipline. Leaders do what needs to be done, even when they don't feel like it. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They create habits and routines that ensure success. They understand that greatness is not achieved overnight. It's built through consistent effort over time. Whether it's waking up early to work on personal growth, staying committed to fitness, or continuously learning and improving their skills, leaders develop discipline in their daily lives. They know that without personal discipline, they cannot expect to inspire or lead others effectively. Another critical component of self-leadership is emotional control. The best leaders do not react impulsively to every situation. They do not allow their emotions to dictate their decisions. Instead, they take a step back, assess situations objectively, and respond with clarity and wisdom. This doesn't mean leaders suppress their emotions. It means they understand them. They acknowledge their feelings, but do not let emotions cloud their judgment. When things go wrong, they remain calm under pressure. When faced with criticism, they listen instead of reacting defensively. This emotional resilience allows them to make better decisions and gain the respect of those around them. Accountability is another trait that sets strong leaders apart. When they make a mistake, they own it. They do not blame others, make excuses, or try to avoid responsibility. Instead, they acknowledge where they went wrong, learn from it, and take corrective action. Leaders understand that making mistakes is part of growth. The difference between a true leader and someone who simply holds a position of power is the willingness to take responsibility for actions, outcomes, and decisions. When you take ownership of your own life, you set an example for others to do the same. A leader must also be self-motivated. If you rely on external validation, praise, or rewards to stay committed to your goals, your leadership will be inconsistent. Great leaders are driven by a sense of purpose, a deep understanding of why they do what they do. They are not easily discouraged by setbacks because they know that challenges are part of the journey. They push forward because they believe in their mission, their values, and their ability to create change. True leadership starts from within. If you cannot lead yourself, you cannot effectively lead others. It all begins with taking charge of your actions, your mindset, and your personal development. When you master self-leadership, you naturally earn the trust, respect, and admiration of those around you. Leadership is not about simply holding a title or having authority over others. It is about setting the right example through actions, mindset, and discipline. A critical aspect of leadership is developing resilience and adaptability. The ability to overcome challenges without losing sight of the goal is what sets great leaders apart from the rest. Every successful leader has faced failure, rejection, and moments of doubt. But what makes them different is their capacity to learn from these experiences, adapt, and keep moving forward. Resilience is built through mindset and perspective. Many people see challenges as obstacles, but strong leaders view them as opportunities to grow. They understand that setbacks are not the end of the road, they are lessons. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" leaders ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in mindset changes how they respond to difficulties. Rather than becoming discouraged, they analyze the situation, adjust their approach, and move forward stronger than before. Another key aspect of resilience is persistence. Many people give up at the first sign of failure, but true leaders refuse to let setbacks define them. They understand that success is a result of repeated efforts, even when things do not go as planned. Whether it's an entrepreneur pushing through financial struggles, an athlete training despite losses, or a team leader managing conflicts, persistence is what ultimately separates leaders from those who quit. Leaders don't wait for ideal conditions. They take action despite uncertainty. They keep moving forward, knowing that every failure brings them closer to success. Adaptability is just as important as resilience. The world is constantly changing, and leaders must be able to adjust to new challenges, environments, and expectations. This means being open to new ideas, willing to unlearn outdated beliefs, and continuously developing new skills. The best leaders do not cling to one way of doing things, they evolve. When faced with unexpected challenges, they do not panic or resist change, they find solutions. They remain flexible, knowing that their ability to adapt determines their long-term success. A key component of adaptability is being a continuous learner. Leaders are always seeking knowledge. They read, study, listen to others, and are never afraid to admit they do not have all the answers. They understand that growth requires them to step outside of their comfort zones. Instead of fearing change, they embrace it. They surround themselves with people who challenge them, encourage innovation, and help them see different perspectives. This commitment to learning allows them to stay ahead in their field and navigate any challenges that come their way. Ultimately, the ability to overcome obstacles and embrace change is what defines a strong leader. Life will always present difficulties, but leaders do not allow themselves to be defeated by them. They persist, learn, and adjust their course when necessary. They inspire those around them not by being perfect, but by demonstrating resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. This strength is what earns them respect, trust, and the ability to lead others towards success. Great leaders do not operate in isolation. They recognize the immense power of relationships and the influence of the people they surround themselves with. Leadership is not just about individual strength or vision, it is also about building strong connections that uplift, challenge, and refine one's abilities. The people in a leader's inner circle play a crucial role in shaping their mindset, decision-making, and overall success. The importance of surrounding oneself with the right people cannot be overstated. Leaders seek out those who inspire them, push them beyond their limits, and provide honest feedback. They understand that growth happens in an environment where ideas are exchanged, perspectives are broadened, and constructive criticism is welcomed. Instead of staying in echo chambers where their opinions are never challenged, strong leaders invite diverse voices into their circle. They value different perspectives because they know that true wisdom comes from understanding multiple viewpoints. Another key aspect of building strong relationships is trust. Leadership is about influence, and influence cannot exist without trust. People follow those they trust, and trust is built through consistent actions, transparency, and integrity. Leaders do not demand trust, they earn it by showing up, delivering on promises, and treating others with respect. They are not afraid to admit when they are wrong or when they do not have all the answers. This honesty creates an environment where others feel safe to express themselves and contribute meaningfully. Great leaders also understand the power of mentorship. They seek out mentors who can guide them, but they also take the time to mentor others. Leadership is not just about personal success, it is about elevating those around you. When leaders invest in the growth of others, they create a culture of collaboration and empowerment. They recognize that their success is not measured by how much they achieve alone, but by how many people they help rise along the way. The ability to communicate effectively is another critical component of leadership relationships. Leaders are not just great speakers, they are great listeners. They do not dominate conversations, they engage in meaningful discussions. They ask questions, seek to understand others, and listen not just to respond, but to truly comprehend. They know that leadership is not about having all the answers. It is about bringing out the best in others and creating an environment where ideas flow freely. Finally, leaders choose to distance themselves from negative influences. They are mindful of the energy they allow into their space. Negative, toxic, or discouraging people can drain motivation and hinder progress. Instead of allowing themselves to be pulled down, strong leaders set boundaries and surround themselves with those who share their values, work ethic, and vision. They cultivate a circle of trust, support, and accountability, one that challenges them to grow while also providing the encouragement needed to persist through difficult times. The people a leader surrounds themselves with can either elevate or diminish their leadership potential. That is why great leaders are intentional about their relationships. They build strong, meaningful connections based on trust, mentorship, effective communication, and mutual growth. These relationships not only strengthen their leadership, but also inspire those around them to become leaders in their own right. Leadership is not just about taking charge, it is about setting a standard of excellence through one's own actions. True leaders understand that their words mean little if they are not backed by consistent behavior. The foundation of leadership power comes from leading by example, demonstrating the values, work ethic, and integrity they expect from others. People do not follow titles, they follow actions. A leader who holds themselves accountable, remains disciplined, and consistently performs at a high level naturally earns the respect and trust of those around them. One of the most defining characteristics of strong leadership is personal accountability. A leader does not shift blame when things go wrong. Instead, they take responsibility for their choices and the outcomes of their actions. They do not make excuses or wait for someone else to solve problems. They step up, take action, and find solutions. This level of ownership builds trust because people see that the leader is not above the rules. They hold themselves to the same, if not higher, standards as everyone else. When a leader holds themselves accountable, they create a culture where others feel motivated to do the same, fostering an environment of responsibility and excellence. Another key aspect of leading by example is work ethic. Leaders do not demand hard work from others while taking the easy route themselves. Instead, they put in the effort, push their limits, and set the pace for the team. When people see their leader working relentlessly toward a goal, it inspires them to match that level of commitment. Leading by example means showing up early, staying late, paying attention to the details, and giving 100% in every task. It is not about talking about work ethic. It is about living it every single day. Integrity is another core principle of leadership by example. A leader's credibility is built on trust, and trust is built on consistency and honesty. Leaders do not say one thing and do another. They do not bend the truth for convenience or manipulate situations to their advantage. Instead, they operate with transparency, communicate openly, and make decisions based on ethics rather than shortcuts. When a leader stands firm in their values, even when it is difficult, they send a powerful message about what they stand for. People respect and admire leaders who remain steadfast in their principles, even under pressure. In addition to work ethic, accountability, and integrity, resilience is a quality that defines exceptional leadership. Challenges, setbacks, and failures are inevitable, but a true leader does not crumble under pressure. Instead, they embrace adversity as an opportunity to grow. They remain calm, focused, and solution-oriented, showing others that obstacles are not dead ends, but opportunities for learning and improvement. By demonstrating resilience, leaders inspire those around them to adopt the same mindset and push forward, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Leading by example is about embodying the qualities of a great leader every single day. It is about showing people what is possible through action, not just words. When a leader consistently upholds high standards, takes responsibility, and leads with integrity, they earn not just authority, but the deep respect and loyalty of those who follow them. A crucial part of claiming leadership power is fostering the growth of others. A leader's strength is not measured by how much they control, but by how much they empower those around them. True leadership is about lifting others up, creating an environment where people feel valued, supported, and encouraged to reach their full potential. When leaders invest in the development of others, they build stronger teams, create a culture of continuous learning, and ensure long-term success beyond their individual contributions. One of the most effective ways leaders empower others is by recognizing their strengths and talents. People perform at their best when they feel their contributions matter. A leader who acknowledges and appreciates the skills of their team members creates an atmosphere of motivation and purpose. Instead of micromanaging, great leaders provide opportunities for individuals to step up, take ownership, and excel in their roles. They delegate tasks in a way that aligns with each person's strengths while also challenging them to grow. This approach not only builds confidence in individuals, but also strengthens the entire team's performance. Empowerment also comes through mentorship and guidance. Great leaders do not hoard knowledge, they share it. They take the time to mentor others, provide constructive feedback, and help individuals develop the skills necessary to succeed. They create an open space for learning where people feel comfortable asking questions, making mistakes, and improving without fear of judgment. Leaders understand that their legacy is not built on personal achievements alone, but on how well they develop those who will come after them. Another key aspect of fostering growth in others is providing encouragement and inspiration. People face challenges, self-doubt, and setbacks that can hinder their confidence. A leader who encourages, uplifts, and reminds people of their potential plays a significant role in their success. Sometimes all it takes is a few words of support or belief from a leader to push someone toward greatness. Great leaders recognize this and make it a priority to build people up rather than tear them down. Creating an environment of trust and psychological safety is another way leaders empower others. When people feel safe to express their ideas, voice concerns, and take risks without fear of negative consequences, they become more engaged and innovative. Leaders set the tone for this by being approachable, listening actively, and valuing different perspectives. They encourage open communication, foster collaboration, and ensure that every voice is heard. This kind of environment leads to stronger relationships, more creative solutions, and a deeper sense of belonging. Finally, leaders empower others by leading with humility. They understand that leadership is not about being the smartest person in the room, but about bringing out the best in others. They admit when they do not have all the answers, seek input from their team, and show that learning never stops. even for leaders. This humility not only strengthens relationships, but also sets an example that continuous improvement is a lifelong journey. When leaders prioritize the growth of those around them, they build strong, capable teams that thrive even in their absence, ensuring a lasting impact.